welcome back to my channel. I'm Huck. Today I'm doing a review for The Weight of the Stars by Ancrum. So this is a standalone YA contemporary with some sci-fi-ish elements. It is set in maybe like a very near future. Not that much has changed, but there's been a little bit more space exploration. But most of the story takes place in a small town, in a high school. The main story and main characters aren't really interacting with any like technological advances, although it also doesn't seem like there are any extreme advances that are all that different from where we are today. So I would say it's primarily a contemporary with a little bit of sci-fi space focused elements to it. In this, our main character is Ryan. A few years ago, her parents died in an accident, and so now she is taking care of her younger brother and also a baby because her brother showed up with a baby one day, but since their parents died, her brother hasn't spoken, and so she doesn't really know the origin of this baby, but now she has the responsibility of taking care of herself, her brother, and this child. At school, she has a group of friends who are all kind of like social outcasts, band of misfits that she has brought together because she has this habit of finding people who are struggling at school and not really fitting in and kind of taking them under her wing and forming this friend group. At the beginning of the story, a new girl has come to school named Alexandria, and she is very angry and prickly and not really fitting in at school, and so one of the teachers asks Ryan to kind of take this girl under her wing as well, since this is something that Ryan frequently does at their school. So she sets out to befriend this girl in some kind of unconventional ways. And we find out that this girl actually is related to a space mission that had a lot of publicity at one point. Alexandria's mother, when she was a teen, agreed to go on this space mission with no return. They were going out into space just to send back, to see how far they could go and send back information about space. She gave birth to Alexandria right before going on this mission. So Alexandria has grown up without her mother and always kind of trying to figure out like what has happened to her. So now what Alexandria does is every night she stands on her roof and tries to intercept any radio signals that could contain information about what happened to her mother. And then because of an accident that happens, Ryan ends up helping Alexandria try to intercept these radio waves, and that is how she kind of befriends her and brings her into this group of friends, and then the whole group of friends kind of gets invested in helping Alexandria find out more about her mother. So that is kind of the premise of what's going on in this story. And I really enjoyed this book. I had such a great time reading it. I read the entire book in one day, which for me is relatively uncommon. It's not a super long book, but still, like, I get distracted pretty easily while I'm reading. So it's uncommon for me to like sit down and read an entire book in one day. And I think that part of why I was able to read it all in one day is because I was very interested and invested in these characters, and part of it was also because of the writing. I think there's something about the writing that was just so easily consumable that it was easy to just fly through this book. I also really like the way that Ancrum writes character interactions and conversations. She has this way of writing their interactions that feel very genuine. They feel like very genuine, like people and just teen interactions. But then there were also some moments that almost felt more like poetic in style, and those were usually times when Alexandria was speaking, because she had a kind of more poetic way of like thinking and speaking, which I really enjoyed, that kind of contrast in the way that different characters spoke. So I just really enjoyed the writing, and it just made it so easy to fly through. But I think the thing about this book that really like shines are the characters. It has a very diverse cast of characters. It's this little like band of misfits found family, which is a trope that I love. I know a lot of people love a found family trope. A lot of the characters in this friend group are very like prickly, angry people, but they all really care about each other a lot, and they all really have each other's backs, and Ryan is the person that really has brought them all together. And she is also a very tough kind of character, but she takes on this kind of parental role for this friend group and brings them all together. But this is also a lot of responsibility for Ryan, and she's kind of struggling with the responsibilities that she has to her family and her friends, and also needing to make her own choices and, you know, live her own life, and kind of figure out what kind of life she is going to live, because she also really loves space and really longs for space, but she doesn't really believe that there's a way for her to really pursue her dreams. There is a female-female romance between Ryan and Alexandria. Alexandria is another very like prickly, angry character. She's a very complicated relationship with space because of her situation with her mother, but the two of them do kind of bond over this connection that they have to space. And then they have a very slow build, hate to love romance, and it actually is like hate to friends to love. I really liked the way that it was done, because it is very slow build, and I liked that it didn't just skip like from hate to love. There was kind of a friends period in the middle, so I really enjoyed their romance and the way that it built. And overall, I felt like this book was really focused on the characters, which I loved. And I feel like it's not really about space. It's especially not about like being in space. It's not like a spacey kind of sci-fi. It was really more about like the concept of space, or the concept of going to space, especially going to space with no ability to return, and why somebody might make that decision, and making a decision like that that is so completely irreversible at such a young age, and then how that affects the people who are left behind. But even so, still having this like deep love and longing for space. And I feel like this book just has a lot of like longing in it. There is a longing for space, longing for connection, longing for finding what is going to fulfill them, and like longing for something that is bigger than themselves. So I just feel like this book was really centered around like the characters, this love of the concept of space, and this deep feeling of longing for so many things. The whole time in this book, I was very conflicted about like how I wanted it to end. And then the way that it did end, at the end, I just like didn't know how to feel about it, but I also feel like it was the best way for it to end. So I had a lot of like mixed emotions while I was reading it, but I really just loved the whole thing. I'm really excited to read more from this author. I have her other book, The Wicker King. I have heard actually that in The Weight of the Stars, characters from The Wicker King kind of make a cameo. I don't really know which characters those are, so I guess I'll find out when I read The Wicker King. But yeah, I gave this 4.5 stars. I loved this book. So that is all for my review of The Weight of the Stars by K. Ancrum. I would love to chat with y'all in the comments and hear your thoughts on the book. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, bye!